me just take a minute to just give a bit of a philosophy, if you will, on outdoor burning and how it pertains to being on an island. We're all aware, anybody with a piece of property knows how much waste is generated every year. The act of disposing of it in some means certainly should be the first priority, or the last priority should be to open burn it. I think we would all agree with that. However, from a fire protection perspective, I see a potential risk in the summertime that's quite scary. And the amount of fire load on this island in certain areas, geographically and climate effect, there's a huge potential for a fire to get away in the summertime in some areas on the island. And no matter what avenue we go down to try and deal with the green waste, I would have a concern that it makes it, if it isn't economically attractive for a homeowner to dispose of a waste in some means, there is a danger of the waste being put into the bush beside the road at night, whatever. And one event in the summertime of a few acre fire, the smoke and the consequences of that are massive compared to having a controlled burn in a location or locations on the island once or twice a year. There has been material that's been trucked from site to site on the island, and I'm pretty sure the open burning smoke control regulation of the province of BC does allow for that when it goes through that permit process. And that has happened on the island several times over the years in location. And we're now getting a lot more burning complaints in the built-up areas, such as down in the Cove area, Tunstall Bay. We can get 911 calls. Our members proceed to the fire hall in as quick and safe manner as possible to go to what will, in the end, be a burning complaint between neighbors. They look out to see that they think that their house is on fire. So there are some real concerns about controlling that. And I can't comment on the I think it's a good thing to move forward to have some centralized location. Having those comments that I've just made been involved. So if you have any questions on that, I'd be glad to answer.
So what does controlled burn mean?
Well, an out-of-control burn is what happens in the summertime when the water bombers show up. A controlled burn is a situation where it's there's
it means somebody started it and it's there on with proper process.
Exactly.
But it's the existing way that we traditionally burn right now, which is stack and basically concentrate the material, stack and burn it. Right now, it isn't necessarily forced air.
Yeah.
Right now, you're allowed to have a private fire, a small fire that without a permit. If it's a yard cleanup situation and you're burning boughs and so on, you require a permit from the municipality. And there's restrictions that go along with that. And then there are periods of time throughout the year that you cannot burn at all. And that's posted in the summertime in the dry period. Land clearing, that happens on an individual lot. You can get a permit to burn the debris in place. And that is where it's becoming quite contentious. If you're in an area that's quarter-acre lots, and they're all built up, and there's one lot that's in the middle of it, you have to dispose of that material in some other manner. If it's a 10-acre parcel and you're out in the middle of the island, that material can be burned on site.
So what requirements are there for that kind of burn?
Well, for example, a land clearing fire in the middle of blue water with houses on each side, we won't issue the permit. That has happened. The contractor, the homeowner, has to deal with the debris in another fashion. It can't be burned on site.
So it can't be burned on site, but technically can't be transported elsewhere.
Well, it can be transported elsewhere, but then it has to be disposed of under the Open Burning Smoke Regulation Act of the province of BC, which is administered through Metro Vancouver. And that's happened historically at J&E's pit. They've had several burns in the spring and the fall over the years.
Is burning necessary in order to deal with the woods? Is there any other
Well,
options?
that's the, that gets to the question. There's been lots of proposals of, I'm not an expert on the amount of green material that can be ground up or composted, but my hunch is that there's so much material on this island that burning is still
The most efficient.
a good way, an efficient way of doing it. And keeping in mind, in the end, we should all keep our yards clean, and the debris has to go somewhere.
Do you also have any questions for Brian?
Can the fire truck get into this site?
You're speaking of the site
Twin
we're
Mountain.
discussing right now?
Yeah. The map
Yes.
talks about four-wheel drive trails.
For a start, any burning up there would have to take place under very controlled circumstances. And it wouldn't be burnt in the summertime. A concern, however, and I've pointed that out in the report, is that load of material, a lightning strike or whatever, in the summertime could ignite it. And yes, the fire trucks can get into that area. However, that would be a situation where we'd be very quickly getting involved with the Ministry of Forests, who we have a really good connection with.
Anybody else have anything to ask of the fire chief? Thanks, Joe.
So if the intent is to go forward with first reading, I'd like to make some amendments to item 2, which is the council instructs planning staff to initiate the referral process for this application as presented. Referrals would include Advisory Planning Commission, Greenways Advisory, Metro Vancouver, Policy and Planning Department, insert Air Quality and Solid Waste Departments, the Provincial Ministry of Environment into that list.
Sorry, Councilor, is that Metro or the
Metro Vancouver Policy and Planning Department, comma, Air Quality, comma, or Air Quality and Solid Waste Departments, comma, Provincial Ministry of Environment, comma, the Islands Trust, pertinent bin departments. And then we need a deadline on the referral process coming back, so you send it out in.
We usually allow 30 days.
You allow 30 days, you need 2 weeks so we need a report back by the end of March. Or the first meeting, the second meeting in April. That work.
Second meeting of April?
Well, the second Monday of April. That's what I mean.
Sorry. So the first meeting.
Whatever that date is. Crow, can you see the calendar behind you? Second Monday in April is,
Second Monday is the 9th,
which is Easter Monday.
which is Easter Monday, so we'd be talking about.
And we got, the 10th is the
We've got a
meeting.
council meeting on the 10th.
Yeah, so Tuesday, April 10th. And add an item 4, and that staff bring a draft of the development agreement to that meeting.
So, Councilor Morse, here is the intent to bring this back for second reading before we go to a public hearing?
No,
No? Okay.
that decision as to whether to go forward with second reading would be made at that meeting.
Okay.
I think it should come back with all that stuff to be discussed and then make that decision. If you want to make a recommendation as part of that report, then we give it second reading at that time, but I think it's premature at this point because you don't know what you're going to get back in the way of referral.
All right.
Oh, and I forgot to add the sea to sky air quality.
Yes.
In the referral list.
into the referral list. I don't know what they're called.
See slider, quality,
Well, there's a, yeah,
something.
there's an association.
We will insert the drops.
Yeah. That gives a good reference.
I think it's called the Sea to Sky Clean Air Society.
That's it.
There we go.
Okay.
In terms of paperwork and staff time, what's the reason for a Greenways Advisory Committee report on this?
Well, it's Crown land. There are trails that go through there.
If I may as well, Greenways often gets referred to in these type of anything related to parkland, to greenways, solid waste. There's the reference there, and they're a committee we usually run by.
And what about the new solid waste committee?
Well, they don't exist.
No,
But solid waste is being referenced.
Well, the Metro is.
Yeah.
So how does that affect the people surrounding the Crown land portion there? It backs onto,
Doesn't that map show the 1.5 division there, Jack?
yeah, I think it does right here, right?
So this is the site here. It's a Crown land tenure. All this land around it is Crown land. So as you can see, there are no residences in the immediate vicinity of this site.
I guess the other question is, there was an environmental assessment done back at the beginning. I recall a report from Jillian Dunster, so that should be put into the public realm.
Okay.
So what are we doing? Are we referring the first reading to?
Would you like me to reread the recommendation, the suggested changes? The bylaw number 315/2012, I'll skip the citation, be read a first time. The council instruct planning staff to initiate the referral process for this application as presented. Referrals would include the Advisory Planning Commission, the Greenways Advisory Committee, Metro Vancouver Policy and Planning Department, Air Quality Department and Solid Waste Department, Provincial Ministry of Environment, and the Sea to Sky Air Quality Society, the Islands Trust, and pertinent BIM departments. That staff report back to council on the results of this referral process at their meeting on April 10th, 2012. And that staff bring a draft of the development agreement to that meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Make that motion. Does this constitute a first reading?
That the first reading is just to get it on the table, and given that the application's been sitting
So
around for a year.
that's my question.
Yeah.
This constitutes a first
Yes.
reading?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Anybody opposed?
Did we find bylaw 41? Brian, did you find bylaw 41?
I don't have that.
So we're on to Casey Grundy, Administrative Assistant, January 14th, town hall meeting, we're waiting for Councilor.
Oops, I'm sorry, excuse me. Back a level.